Hey everybody, it's Kathy, and just a short video, probably about 20 minutes or so. Just wanted to check in since I am getting started on my videos again. Tomorrow, I don't know if you can see behind me, but well, you probably can't because my chair's in the way, but I'm getting, I got everything set up here in my front living room for a interview tomorrow with a local practitioner by the name of Jennifer Kelly, and she is a practitioner of access bars. She also is a Reiki master, but she focuses on access bars. And I got to tell you, I am excited about that interview because I've had a couple of sessions with Jen just recently, and also took the Access Bars class with her. She's a great teacher, and she kind of tailored the class just for me because I'm going to be using the Access Bars session as the rest of the upgrade for the brain reconfiguration. So what that means is a lot of the work that I do here locally, it can also be done virtually online, but it's usually in person here in my home. I offer a basic upgrade session as well as other types of upgrading sessions after the initial basic upgrade. And part of that upgrade is reconfiguring the brain and reconnecting the brain to the super brain. Eons and eons ago, we what we now would call, we were then superhumans. We had a lot of abilities and powers, and not only did we lose them during the age of ego, but they just became extremely dormant along with the majority of our deeper soul dimensional functions, mechanisms, codes, templates, blueprints. So I'm excited to bring Jen in on a conversation about access bars, and we're going to talk a lot about upgrading the human energy system tomorrow. So I just also wanted to mention, I'm looking here at a list I've made. Actually, I began making it a good while back and found it yesterday when I was organizing my computer. So I have a lot of lists of things for Soul Talk Jam sessions and videos, and I'm excited about it. Some of them are going to be, I'm going to mention some, but we are certainly not limited to just these few things that I'm going to mention. But I thought I'd just throw out some teasers for you. So I'm going to go into something that I call, yet another me. I call that aspecting. There are so many beautiful versions of our souls, and we're only living one of them here in this lifetime. We have parallel versions of this life that we're living, and we also have versions of our soul that have lived in other lifetimes. And I just get all excited about that conversation. I just think it's fascinating, and people start going, oh yeah, I never thought of it that way, So that's about aspecting. We're going to go into the soul split, because really every single human being is bipolar. We have two parts of the soul, one in the deep part at the belly button area inside of ourselves, at the very center of our being. And then we have the ego part of the soul that's here at the surface. And for most people alive today, that's the only part of the soul they know. And that's a sad situation. So we want to bring out some information about that. I have a little fascinating little thing that I want to go over with you at some point soon, and I call it mirror epiphanies. Um, because this came to me several years ago when I was in front of the mirror getting ready to go to a conference. And I had this whole epiphany that showed up, and I want to share that with you, and how mirror work can be a great harbinger or trigger to trigger your deeper soul into speaking to you about your own life. So that's something. We're going to talk a lot, just on and off, and I will probably dedicate a video to the human energy system itself. There are so many parts of the human energy system, and most people are only aware of a few of those, like chakras and meridians. So we want to go into that. I'm also going to go over some things that I teach and that I do that I call daily energy management. And several of those concepts and exercises actually come from Donna Eden Energy Medicine. And I just love that woman, and I am so thankful. I thank the universe for her a lot. She's getting quite up there in age now. Hopefully she'll be with us a while longer, but I can't even imagine what she has gone through when she was a younger woman, you know, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, when people were all poo-pooing on this stuff that now people are seeking, you know. So anyway, that's daily energy management and why it's so important. I think that at some point we're going to get into mental, emotional, relationship, and other types of energy attachments and cords. A lot of people are starting to learn about cords and cord disconnecting, or what some people would call cord cutting. And I do that a little differently now than I used to. I don't cut as much. It's a little harsh. But anyway, there's also other types of energy attachments besides cords that acts like a, you know, an umbilical cord. There's other attachments. So we'll be talking about that. I'm sure that at some point and along the way, we're going to be talking about this wonderful reemergence of the divine feminine. And I do think, I will say this about the divine feminine arising and resurrecting. It's a wonderful thing. I'm not a man basher or a man hater by any means. I have honor and respect for both the divine feminine and divine masculine, and really both of those and either of those have nothing to do with gender, but rather a type of consciousness as well as electrical and magnetic qualities to each of those. So we'll be picking up on that. But I do want to say that I think this time around, you know, we've been in the patriarchal, the divine masculine, which did not turn out to be very divine. It really super duper supported ego consciousness and limitation. But in eras before the last 5,000 to 7,000 years of the patriarchal reign, so to speak, there was the matriarchal reign, and it got out of balance. From what I have read and what my soul memories talk to me about. So I think this time around we're coming into the balance. So we'll be talking about that. I think we're going to probably talk about drama. And do you really want to plug in or not plug in? And I'll give you some epiphanies and experiences that I've had, conversations with ego about drama. I'm going to say this much in this moment. I stay away from drama, and I don't create drama. Not anymore. Okay. So we're also going to talk about families of light and what Kathy means when I talk about families of light, at least from my perspective and my experiences. Definitely going to be talking about light language, because I think it's extremely important, and I think more and more people are going to start speaking light language, and it's going to freak them out probably, and they're going to be, oh my God, like what's going on? I don't even understand this language. I have an ex-husband that used to tell me that I talked a lot in my sleep when I was younger. And he said a lot of times I would just be chatting on and on and on in light language while I was sleeping. So it's a very, very, very powerful thing. And light language is actually not a language. I think I actually prefer to call it the mother tongue, and that's what the Shaw, the inner beings of Earth, call it, and what it was called from the beginning, I'm understanding. And I also wanted to make a small announcement, and it's another teaser. So, and this is going to come up tomorrow, I'm sure, in my conversation and interview with Jen Kelly about the access bars. I am writing some books right now, and I have shared in previous videos that I do have sometimes in the past some pretty severe symptoms of ADHD, to the point to where I can't sit at a computer for very long. At least that's what it used to be. And so I started working with the Shaw beings probably about 20 years ago. I keep saying like 10 years ago, but that was 10 years ago that I said 10 years ago. Time is just elusive anymore, really. But about 20 years ago, I started working with these inner beings of the earth, the Shaw. And they have shared so much information and helped me in unlocking soul memory, very deep soul memory of many, many lifetimes and eons ago that we've even don't even have written history on, because most of that history has been destroyed, or it's sitting in the Vatican in the locked vaults, who knows. Anyway, so I've been writing information for years and years and years, and I've known for years and years that there is an author version of my soul, and probably, I'm pretty sure that I have a parallel version of Kathy that is an author writing books in a parallel lifetime. And I've tried plugging into that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But after I had my most recent 2 sessions with Jen Kelly, access bars, one of the things that I told her was my intention at my last one was for my will to be powered by my deep soul, because all of my life I've had an issue with engaging my will. And I'm learning as an older woman a lot of why that is. And so anyway, after we did the access bars, and I just started writing like a mad woman. I mean, hours and hours, all day long, sometimes into later evening, writing and putting together these things I've been writing over the years. And it has been amazing what happened to my will and how it was powered up. Now, there could be other factors to that, and not just the access bars. You know, I have found over the years that it's not just one thing or another usually. It's a combination, and there's been a building up, you know, for time, periods of time, to where and it's not about the right timing, and that's what the Shaw has told me, but rather it's about where your vibrational, what your vibrational status is in general, as to whether we're ready or not yet ready, or not quite ready. And so it's usually a mixture of things that go together when things like this happen. So anyway, the Shaw began telling me their story and a lot about Earth history and beyond Earth, like planet Terra, which was a huge planet, bigger than Jupiter apparently, eons and eons, maybe even billions of years ago. I don't know. A lot of this is out of time and space, so it's hard for me to get a good idea of timing. But anyway, then there was a city inside of planet Terra that was called Gaia, and it was a consciousness. And it's a very, very interesting story, but in the short, Gaia consciousness grew so powerful, and this was the place where the Shaw originated. They did not originate on Earth. They originated in the consciousness of Gaia, and they are not a creation, they are a consciousness. Anyway, so Gaia consciousness expanded so greatly that it burst Terra. So effectively, Terra gave birth to Gaia that became a planet. And I have no idea how long, but a long time. It's probably what the first few verses of Genesis in the Christian Bible was talking about, was Gaia as a planet before it was fully formed as a planet. It was in a brooding state. It was darkness. There wasn't a lot of appearance of movement, but there was a lot going on with that consciousness that became a planet. And then eventually, over time, eons of time, we had a great fall. We've had many, but there was one that totally flipped everything around, and we became conscious of only ego part of the soul, and became ego-conscious human beings. And the Shaw had to end up retreating into inner earth. It's a fascinating story. I'm jumping around here. And probably not making a lot of sense, and I apologize, but I'm excited, and all of this is rolling around in my mind and in my brain and my heart and in my soul. But anyway, so the Shaw asked me when they were giving me information, 1 and 2 decades ago, not to share the information yet, that they wanted to mentor me, apprentice me, and share their story, but that was not the time 10 or 20 years ago to release that information. The Shaw have done very well for eons of time of keeping themselves hidden, and there's many reasons for that. So they are now coming back to surface again to some degree, and they asked me about 2 years ago to begin writing the book. Well, with the ADHD symptoms and, all the scattered stuff, I said to them over and over, I want to write this book too, but y'all are going to have to help me here somehow, because I have this ADHD thing going on and I know how to manage it for my personal life, but I'm not able to sit at a computer for very long and write. And of course, there's dictation programs now. I'm aware of that. But anyway, all of a sudden, in the last now 2 weeks, I have been doing hardly nothing else, not even taking care of my house very well, unfortunately, just the appearance of it. But I'm like a writing mad woman. Woohoo! Crazy! And so that book about the Shaw is actually becoming a trilogy, and I'm titling it Apocalypse of the Soul, Unveiling Hidden Truths about Terra, Gaia, and Inner Earth and the Shaw. And there's just so much information to it that a friend of mine, actually Jen, who we're going to meet tomorrow here on the Talk Jam, she said, I'm seeing this as a trilogy, Kathy. I think this needs to be 3 different books. And so it is. And so the first book is mainly about planet Terra, how Gaia was birthed and became Earth. And there's a lot of rich details in there, including some of the surface cities of Terra, according to my soul memory. And they may not be 100% accurate, but I'm going with it anyway. Because as you read, or as I talk about it, your soul memory will begin to get triggered, and you'll remember things that you cannot validate. There's hardly nothing in this trilogy that can be validated by science or medicine or, third dimensional research, because most of what happened and what existed in the story I've been given, as I said, happened out of time and space at 0 point. And so anyway, the first book is about planet Terra, Gaia, Earth, and a little bit of the Shaw. We start mentioning the Shaw in that book. The second book focuses on the wells of Gaia, which was the very center of the consciousness of Gaia inside of the planet Terra. And so we're going to go into great detail about the wells of Gaia, inner Earth, and I forget the other part of that title. The third book is totally about the Shah, and it's going to be called the Trilogy, Book 3 of Apocalypse of the Soul and the Unveiling of the Shah. And the title of that one is going to be The Shah, Now and Then. I also have another book I've been working on for quite some time, and it's about more of what I'm going to be talking about on this channel. And it's called Leaving the Age of Forgetfulness and Remembering the Soul's Journey Through Ego. And it's going to be more of a self-help type of support with teaching, to where the trilogy is more about information that's been hidden away. Some of it has been hidden away on purpose, and some of it has been hidden away so that we do not become the powerful human beings that we used to be. Nonetheless, I will be covering a little bit. I've already made a companion book for the trilogy about how to read the book, how to use the book, how can it help you, and how to do some of the practices and meditations and stuff that I'm including in there. So this has been a long time in coming. And I do think that this is one of my major lifetime purposes, is to release this information. I've never had any desire to be famous or well-known, and still don't. The only reason I would want for my name to be known is for these books that I'm writing, because they have the potential to help a lot of people, because we are in a great historical age. I am so honored and thankful to be alive at this time, where we are leaving the age of forgetfulness. It has been a long, sorrowful, and arduous forgetfulness about the true nature of our soul, our power. And I'm excited to be one of the many people on earth today that is being asked to share my versions of these things. So there's a lot going on. I still have not told you why I had to take a long break, but it's extremely interesting. And I can't wait to share that with you. But for now, I'm gonna sign off and get my dinner, because it's getting close to dark time now here in West Virginia. So that I can also get well prepared for tomorrow's interview with Jen Kelly. So I'm looking forward to many more videos with you. And some days I'm just going to be a mess like this, and some days I'll be all prettied up for you. Doesn't really matter one way or the other. Doesn't change the information. So much love to all of you. Much love to the world. And I will be back soon. You keep walking in peace and spreading that love. Let's get down to the grassroots level. Treat other people like we want to be treated. And that in itself will begin to change everything. Bye-bye, and walk in peace.